What is up, you guys? This is going to be a brand new series that I'm introducing to the YouTube channel. So for those of you who know, I do run a private academy. All the information is linked down below. You probably hear me talk about it all the time. But in the private academy, I post my trade ideas and things that we're looking at and things that we're buying. And so I thought that it would be good to start sharing the old trade ideas that we went over, how we profited from them, not only to show you guys, obviously that we know what we're doing, but more so this way you guys can learn off of our mistakes, but most importantly off of our success, because it's going back and revisiting your good and your bad trades that really helps you learn as an individual. So let's get started and let's do that. So the first one is going to be OKTA. Now this one I posted only 2 days ago. The students killed it. I had a really, really good put position. I went in with too small of a position, which stinks. And as always, I sold too soon. So let's go over why we took this position. So we had, if we zoom out, a really big symmetrical triangle that was forming on OKTA. It had a false breakdown. So you can see here, we got rejected, came down, bounced off the 50-day SMA, bounced off the 100, broke through the 200, came back, pushed all the way up. Then we started to get a squeeze here. So we had the wedge that was forming, a small wedge forming at the top here. We had a bearish divergence. So for those of you who do not know what a bearish divergence is, it's essentially when price action is moving in the opposite direction of the RSI. So in this case, even though the price was making higher highs, the RSI was making lower highs, which really shows like an inconsistency and tension that's forming within the actual, price of the stock and the overall strength. So we had a big pop up Sunday night into Monday morning. We entered with some put positions. I will put my position here. Very small position. Usually when I take a position in general, it's 3 separate buy-ins. So I'll buy in normally here with a put. Then if we keep going, I'll buy a put, another one in case there's a bit of a short squeeze. Unless it just breaks out against me, I'm not going to hold a position that's a loser. You know what I mean? So in this case, as soon as we bought it, this thing sold off right down to the EMA. Overnight, we had a bounce. I held it. We broke the EMA and I sold yesterday morning for a very nice profit. Our price target was this 50-day SMA, which we fell to very perfectly. So from where we called it out down to where the 50-day support was at the 50-day SMA was a 10% move. So that would have been a very, very good move for somebody if you were looking at getting put. So that is a great example of a situation that we called out last week that ended up going very well. The next one is IRBT. So this is IRobot. For those of you who do not know what IRobot is, essentially they make Roomba vacuum cleaners. This was one of those situations where if we zoom out, we have this big channel that was forming for a very, very long time. This big trading range. I would say it's not more of a channel, it's a range. We broke below, came back up, broke below, came back up, and now we're at the top of the trading range. Now, this was not necessarily a technical play. It was a mix of technicals with fundamentals with a gamble. Guys, any earnings play that you're going to have, it's going to be a gamble. And in this situation, I took the gamble, and I decided, you know what, I made some good money this week. I'm cool with throwing away a couple $100 of it. If this ends up going the wrong way, which is not smart for a lot of people, but for somebody like me who's been in the game for a long time, it's okay. So I had expected that, with the whole situation going on, can't say it for YouTube, supply chains in China for a company like this were going to be affected. I don't think anybody Q1 is going to be buying a lot of Roomba vacuum cleaners. Fundamentally everything was against this. And we had a big sell-off. So from last night, at the peak of earnings down now, it's down 14%. So this was a very nice play. The next one is Mesa, MESA. And the reason I'm going over these now is because these plays have already gone. Do not try to take these plays right now. I'm not saying you won't make money, but I'm saying that as I give this out to my private academy as they're happening or before they're happening, I'm giving these out more as teaching reasons for free for you guys to show you like why this happened. You know what I mean? But if you want to get these alerts before they happen, you can become part of the academy. The link will be down below. It's only $30 a month. There is a free coupon for your free month lasting 2 more days. So May 1st, that coupon's over. Right here on Mesa Air Group, ticker MESA, we had a really, really nice reverse head and shoulders happening. So for those of you who do not know what a head and shoulders is, it's essentially when you get a shoulder, a big head, and then a shoulder. So this is a reverse head and shoulders. You can see we had this drop. This is your shoulder right here. You have your head, which is where it makes a lower low and then comes back up to what's called the neckline. Then we had the last shoulder. So we had this here. We had this hold. We had the squeeze happening yesterday. I called this out in the group. I took a position here at $3 and I got filled at $3.07. Now, this was a small position because this thing moves a lot. So this was either going to reject and move down to $2.51, which is 20% loss, or it was going to push up to where it pushed up, which is a 50% move. So for me, I only put $3,000 up, which is not a lot in, relative to my account size, but still, it's a riskier play. We had a big push yesterday, up 16%. I ended up selling, I think only up like 13%. I sell everything way too early. And the reason I sold that was because I took the profits specifically from this play and I ended up using them towards my IRobot play. But if you would have held this up until this morning, you could have squeezed out a 50% return in 2 days. Not on a penny stock. Well, I mean, $5 and under, they consider a penny stock. But before this was not a penny stock. Not on a penny stock, nothing like that. Just off of Mesa. So that was a great play. And the last two we can go over is CCL. So we called this out last week. This was one of the longest squeezes that I've seen in a very long time. Look at this. Really, we started squeezing here to here. A 14-day squeeze, guys. If you don't know how to read any of these charts, I have some technical basics on here, or you could join the academy. But the TTM was firing for 14 days almost. Finally, we had this big tension release. And from here, from when I called it out on the academy to today, 35% returns. Now we're probably going to see a bit of a resistance around this 200-day SMA, but that's okay. And the last one is going to be Uber. Uber is killing it. So for the longest time, you guys probably know I'm a long-term investor in Uber. We had this big ascending triangle happening here. So with an ascending triangle, you have basically resistances all the way across the board around the same price level. So for us on Uber, it was $28.49. Then we have rising supports until what we hit is called the apex. The apex is really the point where these two support and resistances meet and a lot of pressure is built. And you can see that while this was happening, the TTM was firing for almost a week straight, which is really big. And then what tends to happen, we bounce, and then we either break down. But in this case, it was very bullish because we were holding over the 200. We also had a golden cross form here, which is very bullish. And so if you would have entered here, right where confirmation was, up until now, that would be a 12% return. And as far as Uber is considered, this is a pretty strong price level here, like 32.48, and then the next one would be 35. But we do have earnings coming up, so I wouldn't touch this unless you're cool with a gamble, on your earnings. And besides that, that's really it. If you guys want, we had a really good bunch of call outs. Scrolling through the academy right now, I want to see if there's one that was not a good call out that I could go through. We can take a look at MRK. MRK was another one. This was 2 weeks ago that we were talking about, and you can see this here. Actually, this was a call out from 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago actually. But this one is pretty perfect. So we had this descending wedge happening here where we were bouncing, bouncing. We hit the apex. We talk about this a lot. We had the TTM squeeze was firing a lot right here for a pretty long time. And we also kind of had a divergence where price action's going down, but the RSI is not going down, kind of holding steady. Had this big pop. We played this. As always, I sold too soon. I got out of my calls when MRK was at 72, but it actually went all the way up to 77. Then earnings were, I think, yesterday, but we had here another divergence. Now, this was a divergence without the squeeze we had here, where we're eking out higher highs little by little, but we have lower highs on the RSI. So we had a nice divergence here. I called this out, and the next day we had a 6% fade. So very, very nice, guys. If you want to learn to trade like this, hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe to this channel. Also, if you want to become a part of our academy, hit the link below. You can use the coupon for the next 2 days only. Free academy, all lowercase, all one word. Get access to over 45 hours of lectures, of courses, everything to bring you from a complete beginner trade to knowing the same things that I know. You also get access to our private Discord where me and 167 traders do basically this. Every single morning I go live 9 a.m. It's pretty cool. I go over what I'm trading. I do my call outs and I answer questions. So let me know if you guys, what you're trading this week, and hit the like button, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time, guys. Peace.